days. What a shame. All right, chapter review, chapter 9. Please ensure that you can keep track of what something is as far as, is a polynomial a special kind called a monomial? Is the polynomial special kind called a binomial? Is the polynomial special kind called a trinomial? And make sure you keep straight the difference between finding the degree of a term and finding a degree of the polynomial. So, I'm going to give you a different number one here, and we'll use the book in a bit, but let me give you one first off. I want you to tell me the degree of this polynomial. The degree of this polynomial. All right. Negative 3 x cubed y to the 4th plus 7 to the 9th x squared minus parentheses 2 cubed x to the 4th quantity cubed. All right, that's a little tricky, but if you can get this one, you can get anything. All right, I want you to tell me, just tell me the degree of that polynomial. That's all I want. And I'm going to pause and let you guys work. On 3, give me your answer. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I heard a dominant 12th from here. All right. This last term, technically, is a 2 to the 9th, x to the 12th, and therefore this is 12th degree term in the back. What's the middle term degree? Say it if you know it. This is second. Remember, you don't count exponents of numbers. And what's the first term degree? 7th, so the highest is 12th. Okay? Now, we also had to know the exponent laws to come up with 12 there, right? X to the A to the B equals x to the a times b. How many had that correct? I know a bunch of you did. And the rest of you see that. Again, big deal is, and the big key is I want you to remember, I figured I'd kill two birds with one stone, but I want you to remember, hey, remember the degree of a polynomial is the degree of the highest degree term, and oh yeah, don't count exponents of numbers. They're just numbers. It's only the variables. Only the variables. And what kind of polynomial is that? It's a trinomial. Beautiful. All right, let's do number 6. All right, do number 6 for me. I'll write it up here while you guys are working. You don't have to write the original. Do whatever you want to do there. You got the original in your book. I'm just writing it out for anybody that might be at home watching. Actually, that would be Lauren. Hi, Lauren. You guys want to say hi to Lauren?
What's up?
Hi, Lauren.
All right. Actually, she's not at home yet, but she will be home. I think tomorrow. Okay. 2 to the 4, 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. What in the world is 8 times 16? Anybody know what 8 times 16 is? You all have, don't you all have this number? Oh, it's a y. I don't know why you guys are looking at me funny. Yeah, make sure you got your right things in there. Okay, negative 1 to the 4th is a 1. 8 times 1 is 8, so that's an 8. Negative 1 squared is 1. 7 times 1 is 7. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 plus 9 is we have 15, 12, 21. How many concur? 21. Order of operations problem. Evaluate all exponents. Multiplication, division, left and right. Addition, subtraction, left to right. Negative 1 to the 4th power is a positive 1. What would have happened if the exponent were odd, like a cubed or a fifth? Then it would have ended up being a negative 1, right? Any negative base to an even power ends up positive because a negative times a negative is a positive. any negative base to an odd exponent, 3, 5, 7, 11, will end up odd because a negative times a positive is a negative. All right, the rest is just addition, and hopefully you can do that. Okay, let's do number 12. One thing you got to be careful about is knowing whether you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. You got to keep that straight, because 3 plus 5 is 8, but 3 times 5 is 15. You don't get the same answer. So keep track of whether you're adding or multiplying. And unless you're slowpoke, you should be just about done. If I were doing this problem, I'd put my sheet of paper underneath the original in the book, and I'd just do the next line, and I'd be done. That's what I would do. We're just practicing. And when I used up the edge of my paper, I'd turn it, and I'd use up all 4 edges, and then I'd use up the backside, all 4 edges. And then after that, I'd fold it in half and get a clean edge again, and I'd use that edge. And then I'd fold it again and use that edge. That's how you use scratch paper, by the way, those you taking academic testing. You use the edge of your scratch paper underneath the original. This way you don't have to rewrite the original. Okay, so we're distributing. Be careful if you distribute in your head. 15 of them, whoops, it's not even thems. 15 of the a squareds, and that's it. No other a squareds, right? So that's it. 15a squared. ABs. Negative 7 ABs and a negative 8 ABs for a grand total of negative 15 ABs. Going in alphabetical order, I now do my B's. Negative 12 B's. Be careful. Positive 3 B's is a negative 9 B's. And I finish off with my C squareds. Positive 3 C squareds. Be careful. Distribute the negative. Negative 12 C squareds for negative 9 C squareds. 15a squared, I hope, negative 15ab minus 9b minus 9c squared. How many got that? It's a subtraction problem, right? You got to distribute the negative. And again, look, if you can't distribute in your head, you would be stupid to try to do it on a quiz or test. Okay? If you can't distribute it in your head and get it right 99 times out of 100, it would be stupid of you to distribute in your head on a quiz and a test. Agreed? It would. So take the, look, it probably takes about 5 seconds to distribute that negative, writing it out. So if that's the best strategy for you, then distribute it and write it out. Okay? You want the highest probability of getting it correct. Okay, let's move on. Let's do 16. And we're keeping track of whether we're multiplying or adding. I'm trying to leave you guys the odds so you can work odds yourself if you want to help get yourself ready. And that way you'll know whether you're getting them correct because you got the odd answers in the back of your book. All right, so you're looking at that. Again, if you put your sheet underneath the original, it should take you just a couple seconds and you should be done. Because hopefully you're saying 21, 7 times 3 is 21, x times x is x squared times the y squared. Second distribution, 7 times a negative 5 is a negative 35. X times x is x squared. Y squared times y to the 4th is y to the 6th. Minus 35x squared y to the 6th. And 2 of them and 4 more of them is 6 of them. This is a y. The y squared is a y times y. The y to the 4th is y times y times y times y. And again, if you want to think exponent rule, fine, but there's 2 of them, 4 more of them, 6 of them. or y to the 2 plus 4, which is y to the 6. Somebody got that correct? Okay. And keeping track. So we had a monomial times a binomial. All right, let's get down to the nitty of the gritty. Let's do, oh, they're all so easy. Let's do 26. That's the only one that's got any interest to it. Oh, that's really interesting. Hey, let's do 24 first off, before I do 24, then do 26 right after it. I want you to feel good about getting one right before maybe you get one wrong. Okay, so that's an a plus 3b, pardon my writing here, times an a minus 7b, that's 24. And 26, x cubed minus 2x times 2x cubed minus 3x. Awesome. I'm going to pause the video, give you time to figure these out. So why don't you just pause where you're at and look up here so I can try to help you guys. So again, with a binomial times a binomial, you got to take the front term and you have to distribute it to both terms in the back. So an a times an a is an a squared, and now when I do it to the back, an a times a negative 7b is a negative 7ab. That's the front of that one. When I distribute a positive 3b, I also have to distribute it to both terms in the back. A positive 3b times an a is a positive 3ab. Again, I like to line up my like terms. And then a positive 3b times a negative 7b. Positive 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And b times b is b squared. Finish it off by adding up the like terms. A squared minus 4ab minus 21b squared. How many had that correct? Questions. It's a distributing problem. Look, I can't do it here. I'll do it like this. If you guys will just look up one more time, let me just try to one more time get you to understand what's going on here. Okay. If I had this, if the problem was just a in front of an a minus 7b, wouldn't everybody give me an a squared minus 7ab? I would hope so. That's the first part of the problem. The second part is treat it as if it's a 3b in front of the a minus 7b and distribute that, and you get a 3ab minus 21b squared. Now add up your like terms. That's all this is. First term of the front to every term in the back. Next term in the front to every term in the back. If it's a trinomial in the front, third term in the front to every term in the back. That's how you do all binomial and bigger times binomial or bigger. All right, on the second one, you got to be careful here. You got a lot of x's. X cubed times 2x cubed is a 2x to the 6th. Do not get confused between adding like terms and multiplying. Because again, 3 plus 5 is 8. But 3 times 5 is 15. 2x cubed plus 3x cubed is 5x cubed. But 2x cubed times 3x cubed is 6x to the 6th. It's different adding and multiplying. You got to keep that straight. So that's a 2x to the 6th. Second time when you distribute the x cubed, you get a negative 3. X cubed times x is x to the 4th. Now I'll distribute the negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4. X times x cubed is x to the 4th. Negative 4x to the 4th. I'll put it in the x to the 4th column. Last distribution, negative 2x. So negative 2 times negative 3 is a positive 6. X times x is x squared. And you end up with 2x to the 6th minus 7x to the 4th plus 6x squared. How many had that? Okay, so you're just distributing, adding like terms. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to add something here to one of these problems to get a couple things at one time. So with number 30, I want you to do this. I want you to put a 2 out in front of the parentheses, 2y minus 3 quantity squared, and I want you to solve that. 2 times the quantity 2y minus 3 quantity squared, and solve that. Okay, you might not be done, but I want to get as many in as I can, so if you'll just look up here. I hope you agree that this is the problem. And I hope you agree you can't use the exponent law on this. It's not that kind. You got a binomial for a base. Don't make that mistake. And I clearly explained that to you when we learn these. And you can't forget that. If you forget it, you're going to miss these. Now, I have two choices. I can multiply the binomials and then multiply by the front 2. Or I can multiply the 2 times one of them first and then multiply binomials. It doesn't matter. Look, if I had 2 times 3 times 4, I can do 6 times 4 and get 24. Or if I want to, I could do 3 times 4 is 12 and get 24. It doesn't matter. Commutative property of multiplication. So it's a little preference thing. I don't know what you prefer. If I do the 2 right now, though, this is a 4 and this is a 6. Agreed? I just distributed. Okay, now I'll finish off with the binomials. 4y times 2y is an 8y squared. 4y times negative 3 is a negative 12y. Negative 6 times 2y is a negative 12y. Negative 6 times 3 is times negative 3 is a positive 18. 8y squared minus 24y plus 18. How many had that? And hopefully the rest of you now know where the error of your ways was. Do not, listen to me. Listen, everybody stop and look. Here's what I see students try to do. Watch. They try to distribute this 2 to everything. Over here, do I do 2 times 3 and also 2 times 4? I don't. Do you understand this is one number? This is one number. You're multiplying 3 things together. So don't make that mistake, but I've seen students do it. Try to multiply that 2 times both of the parentheses. Ethan, question? Yes, so you would have had 4y squared minus 6 minus 12y plus 9, and then distribute your 2. You'll still, don't pack up, I'm not done. Who said we're done? Hey guys, quiet in the hall, it's class time. Shouldn't be out yet. Okay, got to get a couple more things down here. All right, I want you to do number 38. 38. Hey guys, you're not supposed to be out yet in the hall, and you're not supposed to talk in the hall while classes are going on. So I need you to do both of those, at least a second. Don't talk in the hall. All right, obviously I won't get to long division today, but we'll do some of that review on Monday when we take a quiz and review the quiz and get ready for Tuesday's test. Make sure you can do long division for Monday's quiz and Tuesday's test. All right, better show it to you before I lose all my time. Now, did you recognize that this is not long division? Because you're dividing by a monomial. So, you're going to put the 3x under that, the 3x under that, and the 3x under that, right? And now you're just going to reduce. So the front becomes a 5x squared. The middle becomes a 9x. And the back becomes a negative 4, 5x squared plus 9x minus 4. How many had that? Okay, good, good. I'm glad you recognize that. That's key. So again, if you need, stop. I'm talking. It's very rude. Very rude. Very rude. Some of you need some help in some areas, and hopefully you recognize some of those as we were going through the review. What I would recommend is take your notes over that section, work some more of the odd ones from the chapter review of that type till you get it down. If you run out of odd numbers in the chapter review, go to that homework section and work some odds of the kind that are giving you trouble. You say, Mr. Scarfi, that's work. Yeah, I know, that's what being a student is. But if you wanna get it, that's what it's gonna take. And so that's what you'll need to do if you want to be prepared next week. Okay, now you can pack up.